I actually stopped meditating. And what I want to do is create kind of a two-part video of my journey of not meditating, where I'm at, what my thoughts are around it. And then I'm actually going to go back because I have this other document that I made back in October. I was planning to make a YouTube video around it. And it's when I hit, I believe, 85 days of meditation consecutively. So it's kind of, to be honest, it's kind of a heartbreaking video because I see where I was back in October and I see where I am now. And this is just part of what I want to do on YouTube and being raw and real and sharing the mistakes I've made and why I think I stopped meditating, where I want to go with this, and just what the journey has been. So, I'm actually going to start off by sharing with you where I was at the 85-day mark. So, let's take this back to October 13th. So, it's January right now. So, this was about 3 months ago, and I didn't change this document at all since then, other than putting the date on it. So that way I could kind of look back and be like, what day did I write this? But this is what I wrote October 13th that I had planned to share with you guys. So, as of the not filming, but as of the day I scripted this video, I was at 85 days of consecutive meditation. I did Reconditioning Your Body to a New Mind by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I did actually continue after this too. At the end of this document, I wrote that I was going to start Blessings of the Energy Center, or maybe I had started it 5 days ago. Okay, and I plan to continue that for 40 days. And I actually think that I did complete that. And I'll tell you why I don't think it necessarily counts towards my consecutive meditation days and where things fell apart. But as of this video, or not as of this video, as of this scripting, here were my thoughts on meditations. So I did notice improvement in this 85 days of meditation. So I definitely felt more patience with myself and my goals. And I remember this feeling. I remember being like, but it's okay if I complete it a year from now or 3 years from now. Like, I know it's going to happen. And I just felt so much peace around that. I did start a new role in October. I described this a few videos ago if you want to look at that. So I was proud of myself just for making it through the interview process. It was one of the most vigorous interview processes. Like, it went through, like I had to have, I think, 3 or 4 different people references talk to this company. I did multiple interviews. I did like a test project thing. And so I was just really proud of staying the course. And I changed locations during that time too. And so I was just really proud of myself for making it that far. And that was one of the things that I was meditating about, is finding another role. And so it really came to fruition. I had a lot of self-respect for myself at this point. I was actively choosing what to engage in, just doing my best to not seek things out that were causing anxiety. And this is really heartbreaking because as things went along and I stopped meditating, and I'll go more over this in the second half of the video, I did start seeking things out that would cause anxiety again, whether that be relationships, conversations I was having, spending more time on social media, all of that. But when I was meditating, I feel like I probably still was in a way, like reflecting back, but I was trying not to. So I was proud of myself for the persistence. I really didn't think I was going to make it that far, but I did every single day. I would make it a priority. And I was just feeling better overall, starting to plan for a future when I hadn't for years. For years, it was just like, I'm going to make it through this month or this day. And like, I didn't see a future for myself, to be honest. And it felt like the depression was finally lifting at this point in October. And if you saw my recent kind of like burnout video, you'll see that I detailed starting in November, I had one of the most intense like depression periods. I was crying daily. It just was not a good time. So it's interesting that here I am in October writing that I feel like a layer of depression is lifting. And then 30 to 60 days later, it was just in the throes of depression. What I found hard about meditating, and I'll explain a little bit here about where I think things fell apart. I didn't want to meditate every single day. So the first 40 days, it was really exciting. I had some goals I wanted to do at the end of the meditation. Like I was just so driven. And then it became this thing where it was like, I remember walking, and I remember walking and getting back from a walk and sitting on the couch and just being like, I have to meditate. Turning on the meditation and just like laying there. I didn't really have intention behind it. I wasn't motivated. It was just something I had to do. So it's just one of those things like a check mark, like, oh, I ate dinner today. Oh, I meditated today. And so I think that when the motivation started to wane a little bit, I wish I had pulled back on meditating every single day and maybe doing a shorter meditation, maybe finding that motivation again. I really did find motivation listening to testimonials on the Dr. Joe YouTube channel. And that's when I really connected to the work. But when it was something where it was just on my to do list and I was going through the motions, I don't think it was helpful for me, to be honest. Like, obviously, you could see up here, there were some things that were improving. And so maybe there was something to just making myself do it every day. But I almost think there would have been a bigger progression if it was something that I was actively choosing to do daily and not just another thing on my to do list. Anxiety. So the anxiety wasn't getting better. Despite 85 days of meditating, I felt like I actually took a step back in terms of anxiety. I flew during this time period and had the worst flight anxiety I've ever had in my life, and just felt really ashamed of this, of like, hey, I've been meditating, I should be calm, and here I am, like a nervous wreck, shaking like a leaf. And I guess I just felt like maybe the meditation's not working. And I think that was like a big thing. That was after the 40 days of meditation. And so I had like this huge belief during those first 40 days. And then I think the flight was the first thing for me where I was like, something's not working. I think that was around maybe day 50, 55 that I did the flight. And I was just like, this can't be the case. And so I think my belief system started to break down. There was also something in this time period where I was meditating on those first 40 days. And it was like this huge, I don't know if I'd say expectation, but like this huge wish of mine. And so all of my meditations were like really envisioning this specific outcome happening. And later down the road, that outcome was not happening. And so each time I would meditate, I would put myself in this position of like really feeling the feelings if this happened, really envisioning the people around me, really envisioning the lifestyle, envisioning exactly what I wanted, and to see that completely crumble and just be like, that's not happening and I don't think it can ever happen. And maybe that's my mindset, right? Maybe it's like, maybe it could have happened, maybe it could still happen, but I just didn't see the belief there anymore, and I think it was hurting me. Like, it was honestly so hard for me every single day to put myself in that position and envision this dream that I felt like may never happen. And so I don't know if that led to the depression. I don't know if that just kept me really anxious, but it's something that I'm working through and I don't have the answer to right now. I wish I was on the other side and can say like, okay, like maybe things are shifting and I just need to keep doing it, but it was honestly breaking my heart. So I couldn't do it. And so I think that's when that first disconnect of meditation happened for me, is like, I'm trying to envision this thing that isn't happening. I don't know if it'll ever happen. And I feel very conflicted. On one hand, I feel like I've watched so many testimonials and a lot of people are trying to heal from something health wise. And so, an example for them would be, they're doing the meditations, they're envisioning healing, and then things get worse, or then things aren't changing, and they just keep doing it, and eventually it happens for them. So, maybe I just didn't have enough trust, and maybe that like bleak period felt worse than it was. Like maybe things were changing and I just needed to keep going. But then there's the other side of me of like, maybe I need to meditate on things that are more realistic or healthier in my life, of like, hey, this could really happen. And I don't know if it's just like this could really happen, but almost just letting go of the outcome, right? Like some things are meant to be and some things aren't. And so being okay with like letting things go. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure where that leaves me, but I'm just being honest about where I am. It was really hard meditating on something and then having the exact opposite happen in my physical reality, and then realizing that each time I was meditating and envisioning this, like afterwards, I would just feel so sad because it wasn't happening. Okay, so now that I've talked in circles, my focus during the meditation still wasn't always there after the 85 days. And keep in mind, I was doing like hour-long meditations during this whole time. So maybe I could have done shorter meditations, maybe it just takes longer to focus. And I still caught myself catching the same thinking the same thoughts that weren't in alignment with where I wanted to go. So I did think that that was getting a little bit better, but I would have wanted to see more progress. Still feeling pain sometimes. Honestly, I don't even know what I meant when I wrote this. I think it was maybe physical pain, like I was still feeling physical pain. And before I would quit when it wasn't working, which obviously I did. I didn't as of writing this, but I did eventually quit meditating. So something broke in there. Overall impression, I did still see the value in meditating as of writing this. I liked listening to stories and courses and the science behind it. I was really proud of myself for sticking it out and had a plan to continue. Now let's go over here. Overall, I do regret the decision to stop meditating. There were a lot of things throughout November, December, early January that I wish I had handled differently. I wish that I had approached differently. I wish that I had just had more trust because everything worked out the way it was supposed to. And I had no control over it. I did get on a flight early January too, where it was just so hard for me. I made the holidays a lot harder than they needed to be. I made so many choices harder than they needed to be. And I think even managing work harder than it needed to be. So I do wonder if I had stuck with meditation, had I approached these things differently. But then again, everything kind of falls together the way it's supposed to. And if I had continued meditating, I wouldn't have come to this conclusion and really analyzed here's what didn't work and here's what was working. And maybe I'll come at it with a new motivation this time. Last time I did make it the longest I had ever made it consecutively. So that is where we are. I was feeling really good. Like I do remember thinking back to September and October, there was still things I was reaching for, but I felt a lot better than I do right now. And so I wish I could go back to that, and I don't need to wish, like, I can get myself back there, but my mental health felt like it did a 180 literally from October to November. I was, like I said, I cried almost every day and just felt so overwhelmed in life and felt like not that things were never gonna get better. I do see a light at the end of the tunnel, but it just felt like, okay, every day I wake up, I work to pay my debt, and I don't have what I want in my life, even though I also recognize, like, I'm really grateful for the people who are in my life. I'm really grateful for, like, all the help I've had over the last year. I'm grateful for the places I've been able to stay. I'm grateful for the jobs I have. Like, I truly love what I'm doing, and I think that it's hard to say that you're sad when so many things are going right. And so I do want to acknowledge that if anybody's watching this, like there's happy times too, and there was a lot, and there is a lot that I'm grateful for. But it was just such a huge shift to feel how I was in October and feel how I was in November and December. So why didn't I go back to meditation during this time? Like, okay, I'm feeling good, I'm not feeling good, and one thing I changed was meditating. Like, why didn't I just go back? So I started to fall off meditating when I took on this new role that I'm doing. So one of the things that I'll just share a little bit about the schedule of the role. So my schedule day to day really. So a lot of times I'll have meetings in the morning starting at 8 in the morning, which is really great. And then I'll kind of have meetings through maybe till 4 or 5 o'clock. And it's sporadic. Not every day is the same with meetings. Not every day I have a ton of meetings. But what I was doing before taking this new role is kind of checking out in the evening, maybe checking in once during the evening. And then I would go into my evening routine. I would take a walk. I would meditate. I would do all the evening stuff, right? So what changed during this is, one, it started getting darker earlier, so I was walking earlier or not walking. And then with this role, I do, I guess, appointment setting. I do appointment setting, but so I'm responsible in Instagram for reaching out to people. And so with this new role, I'm splitting it with somebody, so I was taking on leads from 12 o'clock in the afternoon till midnight. And at first, I really stuck to this, and so I was like, I can't take an hour to meditate. Like, that was the expectation I put on myself. Like, you can't take an hour to meditate during that time. But before 12 was also equally as hard if I had calls or had work to get done. And so I kind of just didn't find the time for it. And so what I'd do is I'd go to bed and I would play the meditation, because I was like, maybe if I have it on while I'm going to sleep, my brain will still internalize it. I did that for about a month, and then I was like, I don't think it's making any sort of difference. And so I stopped. I think that I could have been more flexible, and I'm finding flexibility in this now. Quite honestly, like, I usually cut off my work at about 8, 9 o'clock, because if you're working till midnight, you don't get to sleep at midnight. So I do cut off my work early, just sacrificing those few hours of leads, giving it to the other person, but I still haven't gotten back into meditation. And I think the reason why is I need to address those underlying beliefs. I need to figure out what the format is. I think I need to like refigure out why the science is working. I need to like just get back to why I decided to do it in the first place. And so what I'm actually doing currently is going through Dr. Joe Dispenza's books, going through his YouTube testimonials, going through the course again. Like, I truly believe the work as a whole. Like, I understand the science behind it, and I definitely think it's a way forward for me. There's been no question since I read the book Becoming Supernatural that this is something I want as a part of my life, and that's been a constant really since 2021. And I would say so many things in my life has shifted since then, and so many of my beliefs have changed in one way or the other, or gone back and forth, but like, this has been something that I've never wavered on. So I know that there's something here. Like, I know that there's something I'm supposed to pursue, but I think that I need to overcome some of these mental hurdles. Going through this, again, like I said, I didn't feel like I saw the progress, and I think it's just building stronger mental frameworks around this of like, hey, I might not see progress. That doesn't mean progress isn't happening. And again, when I'm speaking this out loud, like, I can see logically that this is a way forward. I just haven't embraced it emotionally. And that's what I'm struggling with. So, what people talk about the most when it comes to meditating is the habit's hard, takes too much time, etc. I thought the hardest part wasn't that. And I think that had I like leaned into what was happening, I probably would have continued, but I found it hard to just be hopeful. And so maybe the depression started while I was meditating and I just didn't see it, but I think I used work as a way to kind of distract myself from that, because no one in their right mind is going to like be at their phone for 12 hours and send all these messages and work 7 days a week and do all the things. I think that I was using that as like a crutch of, hey, I don't want this free space in my life to have to come up against the fact that I am hopeful and I'm not seeing what I want come to fruition. So I just distracted myself. And I think that's a big thing that I need to work through, why I did that and why I continue to kind of overcommit and then feel guilty and underperform. In my mind, I'm underperforming. I don't think that that's like the real case, but even when I was working that much, it felt like I wasn't working enough. So again, I put a lot of pressure on myself to do like close to an hour of meditation every day and then just lost it. And I think there's a more sustainable way to go about this. And I want to do it with so much intention. I don't want it to just be because I need another day to continue this streak. I really want it to be something where it's like, I'm excited to meditate. And there's a lot going around on social media right now that's kind of like, forget your mood, like, follow what you said you were going to do. And I agree to that to a certain extent. I think that it is important to show up and do what you've committed to do. But I also think when you lose the passion behind it, you need to take a step back. And so I'm trying to come to some sort of conclusion or some sort of plan where I feel passionate about this, and some days I won't feel as passionate, or maybe it is just like getting myself to sit down and meditate. But I also think there's days where it's okay to take a day off of meditating, and maybe that is you're diving into the science behind it, or maybe you just need a day without it. I don't know. So again, I'm trying to figure that out. It's kind of hard as somebody who is, I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist anymore, but I feel like I have those tendencies still sometimes where it's like an all or nothing. Like, we're either going to meditate every single day or we're not going to meditate at all. Like, there is an in between. Maybe it's 2 hours or 2 days a week of these hour-long meditations, 2 days a week of 10-minute meditations, a couple days a week of reading or doing the courses or listening to testimonials. And I think I'll find a rhythm, and maybe it's not super like you do this and then this and then this. Maybe it's more flexible than that. I'm not sure. But all in all, I do know I want to get back into this work because I deeply believe it. And I deeply believe that this is the future for me. I believe that there's healing in this, both emotionally, mentally, physically. And those are things that are important to me in my life and kind of the cornerstone of where my focus is, right? I want to get better physically. I want to get better mentally, emotionally, financially. There's so many goals that I have, and I think that this is a key to doing that. But I need to find something that works for me. So, all in all, I do regret not meditating. I wish I had made it more sustainable for myself. I can't take that back. All I could do is move forward from here and really explore my feelings around this, really explore the work itself again, really explore what meditation means to me, try out different things, see what works, see what doesn't work, and see where I lose interest, because there were definitely signs along the way that I was gonna discontinue this and I didn't see them. But now I could see them very clearly, and hindsight is, like, it gives you all the answers. So again, where I am right now is I just want to move forward with this, and I want to be on here and be honest about it because I know that I shared what I was doing when I was meditating. So I wanted to share my impact of not meditating and what led to this and where I'm at now. So hope this was helpful. If you guys have any tips, please leave them in the comments. If you've also felt like this, leave it in the comment, or you can private message me. Yeah, I just want to keep growing from here. And so I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. I do plan to do meditation updates periodically just to let you guys know where I'm at, if I'm engaging in it, how I'm engaging in it. And really the goal for this year is to make a practice around it that just feels sustainable and can continue on for the next 10 plus years in my life. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.